Okay, so we're in the Mishnah on the bottom on Daf Ayin Gimel Amud Aleph, and Maseches Gittin in the Bavli. The moment the husband gives his wife a get, and he says Mehayoy Malachar Miso, he cannot be alone with her unless there's Adam, because we're worried maybe he'll be with her, and then maybe he'll be with her to remarry her, and then there's going to cancel the whole get, and so on.
Sorry,
the mitzvah.
what do you mean by cancel the get?
Where are you going? Sorry.
I didn't get Amud Aleph by the Mishnah on the bottom.
Get rid of that box.
Last time, W, we were talking about the potential of death and how it relates to, or how a get can be given that somebody dies of a disease.
Right. So he gave her a conditional get. Now he's not allowed to be alone with her anymore because let's say he'll be with her.
But it's a mitzvah to remarry your wife after you divorce her.
Oh, but he didn't
You're
yet
up to date.
officially divorce her. He didn't officially divorce her. If he wants to cancel it, he's allowed to cancel it, of course. He could cancel it, but if he doesn't want to cancel it, then he shouldn't be with her.
Yeah, but the Rabbi Gordon was saying today it's a mitzvah to remarry.
Rabbi Gordon?
Well, he's on Chabad.org. Alava Shalom, Rabbi Yehoshua Gordon.
Oh, different Gordon.
Yeah, he gives a lesson each day on the Aliyah of the day.
Afilu al pi eved, afilu al pi shifcha. Really, he could be misiachad with her in front of an eved, in front of a shifcha, chutz mishifchasin, except for her own maidservant, they shall leave a gasbo b'shifchasa, because she's very comfortable with her shifcha, so that's not going to prevent her.
Do you want the earplugs?
I'm fine.
I have earplugs right here. If you were using my earplugs.
Just drop it. Okay, so the Mishnah asks a question, Mahi ba'isan hayomin.
We get a minute, hold on.
What is her status during those days when she has like a conditional get? Rabbi Yehuda Omer.
What's a conditional get?
He says, I'm giving you a get from today when I die. In other words, he's giving it to her now, but it's only going to take effect when he dies. But already from now, she's like in a certain status. What's her status? What is her status? So the Mishnah says, her status is as a married woman. Someone who's going to be with her and have an affair with her, God forbid, is going to be punished the way you're having an affair with any married woman, which is chenek, and so on. Even if he eventually dies from that illness, like Michael mentioned, the divorce actually only comes into effect the moment he dies, the moment before he dies. So, yeah. Now, Rabbi Yossi, I remember Megureshes, Rabbi Yossi says she's a suffix Megureshes, because at any moment the husband might pass. So because at any moment the husband might pass, the get might be coming into effect now, so it's like a suffix. So obviously you're not going to be punished, even with Adam and Asra, if there were witnesses, if there was warning, it's not going to matter. And also the carbon will be a different carbon. When you have a suffix, it's not a chatos, it's not a sin offering. You can bring an ashram tali.
Yeah, talui,
guilt
hanging, right?
What?
Literally, it's hanging. It's neither here nor. It's suspended, right?
Suspended.
Yeah.
Yeah. Taner Rabbanan. It's not in the Brayta. Ra'ua shenisiachta imay ba'afela. If they saw her being alone with him in the dark, Yoshna imay tachas margalis hamito, or she was with him like in a secluded place under the bed. We're not worried that they were having relations. What we're worried about is znus, not kedusha. Not that he remarried her, but just znus, that it was something immoral. It wasn't l'shem kedushin, so she's not going to need a second get. Doesn't cancel the get. Even if he himself was with her, if it's not l'shem kedushin, this is the first opinion, which is not what our Mishnah held. As long as it's l'shem znus, he doesn't cancel the get. So, but we're worried that he was with the shem znus. What's a desperately ill man doing with this type of thing? Anyway, Rabbi Yosi by Rabbi Yehuda Omer af chayshishim mishum kedushin. Rabbi Yehuda says we're worried also about kedushin. My comer, what's this Bryce is saying? What's the first opinion saying? Omer Rav Nachman Rabbi Ravu Achi comer. Ra'ua shenivala, if we saw that he was with her, chayshishim mishum kedushin. Now, if we mamish saw that nivala that he was with her, then we're worried about kedushin. Nasan laksafim chayshishin mishum znus. If he gave her money after he was with her, then we're worried that it was something immoral, that he was like paying her, which would be weird because it's her husband and wife. But if we saw money exchanging hands after these relationships, we're worried then it was znus and not kedushin. And he gave it to her as like a payment. We're not worried about kedushin. Even in the case with the money, we're worried about kedushin. Now, Rashi points out something interesting. He says like this: when it says choishishin for znus, it's not really doing anything to her. If you're going to say, oh, she's not forbidden to marry Kohen, anyway, she's going to be forbidden to marry Kohen. She's considered a grusha. She's a divorcee. She can't marry Kohen. If for a truma, if she's a bas Kohen, it's only going to make her forbidden if she's mamish with somebody who's like a kuti, a cholo, nosan, and a mamzer, and so on. If she's with like a mamzer, then she'll be forbidden. But just to be with somebody biznus is not going to make it happen. Rather, we use the lashon of choshishim, but it doesn't actually do anything to her. Okay, so now we go on. We say like this. Kimanos lohodom Rabba Barbachanam Rav Yechon Machlekes Kishirush Nivala Valorush Nival Divakalin Sichem Menuget Sheni Kiman Kidivrakel. The Machlekes is only if we saw that he was with her, but if you didn't actually see that he was with her, everybody will agree that she does not need a second get. This is according to everybody. The way we explain the machlekes is if he saw that he was with her and money exchanged hands, that's the machlekes. According to the Tanna Kama, if money exchanges hands, it proves that it was not l'shem kedushin. There's no problem. And according to Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, there is a problem. But if you didn't see that he was with her, then there's mamish no problem. And this is another machlekes. This is in Perek HaZaydik. If you divorce your wife and you stay with her in an inn, according to I gave it to you, no?
Oh, yeah.
Good luck. If you're with her in an inn, Beis Hillel says you need a get sheni. Machlekes is only if nivala. If ra'ua shenivala. According to Beis Hillel, you need to get sheni. According to Beis Shammai, no, he worries it's about. He's lenient. He says you were with her for snus. You don't have. We don't suspect that he was mekadosh her a second time. That he betrothed her a second time. Maskif Abaye doesn't like this interpretation. Midik Safim Ktani. The whole interpretation was that there was an exchange of money. That's where the machlekes is, by an exchange of money. The problem with that is that it didn't mention anything about money in the brisa. There was no mention of money. You're saying the Tanna Kama only says to be lenient if there was an exchange of money, but there was no mention of money. So therefore, Abaye has another interpretation of the whole machlekes. He reinterprets it. This is what we're going to have to say. If he saw that he was with her, so he's really lenient. If he saw that he was with her, we're only worried about znus and not kedushin. Rabbi Yisrael says even kedushin. Therefore, going back to the other machlekes with being with your wife in an inn after you divorced her, come on, also that even Beis Hillel will say you don't need to get sheni. Come on, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda. This is the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, but Rabbi Yehuda who holds that if he saw the nivalo, that if you saw the nivalo, then there's a problem. But if you didn't see nivalo, then there's no problem. So this is according to Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda. According to Tanakamo, he obviously doesn't agree that that's interpretation of the machlokes of Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. According to him, even if nivalo, there's no problem. How are you going to explain the machlokes according to Tanakama? Rashi doesn't say. We have to understand how he would explain Shitas Beis Hillel, because according to Tanakama, even if he was with her, we're lenient. And we say he doesn't need a doesn't need a second get. So how is Beis Hillel? Why would Beis Hillel say you need a second get after your divorce if you're with your wife, even if you saw that he was with her? Well, it's very rare to know that he was with her. Usually people keep things quiet. But anyway, Maskif lo Rava imkein my af. Rabbi Yitzchak says af bezu chayshishim mishum kedushin. Even in this, what's af? He shouldn't have used the word af. The Tanakama wasn't strict. Tanakama was lenient. According to Abaye's interpretation, Tanakama is totally lenient. So why would Rabbi Yosef say even in this? Rabbi Yosef should say in this we worry, not af. Af means an extra case. You already are strict in one case, and I'm strict in the second case on top of that. Tanakama wasn't strict at all. He's totally lenient. So therefore, Rava has another interpretation. Rava, Hachikama Rabbi Yosef. This is the pshat. Even if you didn't see that he was with her, we're worried about kedushin. Just the fact that they were together in the dark is enough for us to suspect. So come on, also according to Rava, the interpretation of Rabbi Barchano, who says the machlekes is only if we saw that he was with her, but if you didn't see that he was with her, everybody will hold. You don't need a get. It's not like any of them. According to Tanakama, even if Ruish Nivalo, there's no problem. And therefore, you cannot interpret Beis Hillel to hold that there's a problem if you saw that he was with her, because he's not going to leave Beis Hillel and go like Beis Shammai. Maybe he'll hold that if you saw there was a kedushin going on, something that had to do with kedushin, maybe that's what Beis Hillel was talking about. And according to the second opinion, the opinion of Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, he's strict even if even if you didn't say that they were together. So therefore, the interpretation of Rabba Bar Bachan and then Rabbi Yechon in the case of being with your wife in an inn after you divorce her, that interpretation that you saw that they were together, that is not like either of these opinions according to Rava. Okay, so now we're explaining the next part of the Mishnah. Mahi Ba'is and Hayomim, what is her status in those days? Rabbi Yehuda holds she's considered a married woman, and Rabbi Yossi says it's a suffix. We're not sure. Tana was taught to if he doesn't die, then this whole machlokes is that you have to bring a carbon and so on and so forth. It's only if he passes away, and then the get comes into effect. But if he doesn't pass away, he lives. In other words, from that illness, he lives from the illness. So then it's not a get. Then there is no get, and everybody will agree, even Rabbi Yossi will agree that you're chayiv chat because you're with a married woman. Machlokes is only if he passes away. Then Rabbi Yossi will say it's Oshrim Tali because we're not sure at any moment he could have passed away. But if he doesn't pass away and the get is canceled, of course Rabbi Yossi will say that you bring a carbon chatas. Frag die Gemara, Ulechimayis Havigito, Vakaimelan didn't get Lachamiso. The question is, if you say from now until I die, the get is only taking place after he passes away, and how could you have a get after miso? They both hold the get didn't come into effect when he gave it to her. They both hold the get is only coming into effect when he passes away. If the get is only coming into effect when he's passing away, how can you do that? How can you say that? There's no such thing as giving a get after you pass away. So the answer is similar to what we already said, but now it's more specified. You can't say mehayomi mesi. If you would say mehayomi mesi like the way we already explained, then there's a problem. Then it shows that it was a get from the moment he gave it to her. So the moment he passes away, the person the person who will be with her will not have to bring a korban chatos. But if you say me'ez shani be'olam lahava get, if you say from when I'm in the world I want it to be a get, according to Rabbi Yehuda, even the moment a moment before he dies is when the get is. So the whole time she's considered Eish Ish. It's a married woman. So anyone who's with her is going to have to bring a korban chatos, sin offering. If he holds it's from the time you give it, because we're worried maybe this is the time close to death and it's a suffix. Even if he lives later on, it doesn't matter. You still have to bring the Asham Tali. Tana Rabbanon, it was taught in the Brisa. Yom Shabin time, the days in between, Baila Zakai bim Tziyosav Maisiadeh Vafaras Nizareh. During the days in between, her husband gets her lost things that she finds, he gets to keep, and he gets the work of her hands, and he can annul her vows. V'yorsha, and he inherits her. M'tamala, he's going to have to make himself tummy for her to help her bury her if he's a kohen. For sure, if he's not a kohen, but even if it's a kohen. The general rule is she's considered like his wife. She does not need from him a get. Get Shani. This is the opinion of Yehuda. If he dies from this illness, if you're with her, it's tluya. Bi'ilosa tluya. When he dies, it's hanging until he dies or until he gets better. We're not sure if he's going to die or if he's going to get better. If he dies from the illness, this is going back to the original case. If you die from the illness, habala potter. According to the Meir, it's me'ez shani ba'ilam b'shas nesino. According to the Meir, you're basically saying that the get is from the time of the giving. So Adarabba, the moment he dies, you were Megala, we reveal that she was divorced the whole time. If he doesn't die, so then it's a chatos. In other words, like this: if someone's with her in this situation, Rabbi Meir has a novel opinion. He says like this: depends. Either you got off scot-free. If he dies, that means that the get happened the moment he gave it to her. And if you, what's it called? Just thinking back, and if he does not die, so then she's a married woman. Depends. Rabbi Yossi Yomer bilos a suffix. Rabbi Yossi says it's a suffix the way we already explained, that it's Asham Toli. You bring it Asham Toli. At every moment, it might be this time, maybe the time close to death. So if he dies, you bring it Asham Toli. If he doesn't die, then it's a chatos, like we already said. According to the Chachamim, it's like Rabbi Yossi. It sounds like Rabbi Yossi. So you ask, what's the difference in Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yechon Asham Tali? According to Rabbi, there's no Asham Tali. We just have to wait to see what will happen. If he passes away, that means she was divorced. You don't have to bring anything. If he doesn't pass away, then it's a chatos. According to Rabbi Yossi, you bring an Asham Tali. So now the Gemara asks, it sounds like the Chacham is the opinion of Rabbi Yossi that you bring an Asham Tali unless he lives. If he lives, you're going to bring a korban chatos because it shows there was no get. You can deny the the difference between them is Rab Zeda, Dam Rab Zeda, Dam Rabari, Yirmi, Amr Shmuel, where the Chacham say that she's divorced and not divorced, the husband is going to have to pay her food.
Who's going to have to pay the food, or
the husband?
Oh, the husband.
The husband's not going to have to give her mezainis, and according to the Chacham, he will. Okay. Now we're going on. We're up to the next Mishnah on Daf Ayin Daled on 74a. We'll do a part of it.
Okay.
Not going to do the whole thing. I'll probably do an Amud till the 2 dots. Next.
Works for me.
Does everybody have it? 74a by the Mishnah.
Yeah, Hare Zeki Tech.
Okay. It's extortion. The husband is extorting her. He says, I'm going to give you the get if you give me 200 zuz.
Why do you say he's extorting her?
He's extorting her. He wants to be paid to give her a get.
Okay.
That's basically the money he owes her in the ksuba. He wants the money back. He wants to cancel the ksuba, basically.
Oh, you want,
So he says, I'll give you a get if you pay me 200 zuz. She's considered divorced. The titir, and she should give it. Give the money. Let's say he gave her a time limit. He says pay up in 30 days. If she paid him within 30 days, she's divorced. If not, she's not divorced. Rav Shimon Gamliel says there's a story in Satan that a person told his wife, it's a get if you give me my cloak. And it got lost. Chum said you just have to pay the value. So it's interesting. Why can't the Chum just cancel the marriage the way they did before? I guess the answer is, if it's something that has repercussions for Klal Yisrael, they have to make a gzeira for Klal Yisrael. Because if they allow in one case, everybody's going to start doing something, and then a churban could come out of it, like something terrible could come out of it. Then they're going to make a special gzeira, and they're going to be mafkir, they're going to cancel their whole marriage, like we said yesterday. But in a case where it's an individual's sorrow and suffering, as terrible as it is, like if the husband's extorting her, they're not going to make a gzeira for that. That's what I think.
I think that's illegal nowadays. Certainly wherever there's rabbinical courts.
I think that as far as what goes on in people's houses, to some degree, we do have to respect people's privacy. It doesn't mean that we can't do something to help a terrible situation, but I think that people do have the right to their privacy.
Right, that's a good point. Like you could ask the Chayr, they should make a takana not to allow the extortion when it comes to get. I don't know, like blackmail or whatever. But I hear what you're saying. It's true. You have to give people privacy. It's very important. Now, having said that, if a person's blatantly breaking Shabbos and Bezdin was in charge, you have to warn him, don't break Shabbos. Does it mean you break into people's homes and ensure that they keep Shabbos? No, definitely not. That's interesting. There was a king, I forgot which one it was, maybe Yoyosh, that he destroyed all the idols in his country, but he died on the battlefield. And if I remember correctly, the reason was because he didn't manage, like he destroyed all the public idols, but people kept on worshiping idols in the privacy of their homes. I guess maybe he didn't inspire them enough. I don't know what he was supposed to do. I remember reading a medrash that they would hide it behind their door or something like that. I don't know.
Ooh.
Don't recall. He says this is your get on condition that you give me 200 zuz, she should pay up. I'm not okay, we did the Mishnah, let's go on to the Gemara. Gemara asks, my vetite, what does it mean when it says vetite? What's obviously Rafuna Omar vehitite.
Okay, because the subject is what do you call it? Feminine here, so etitain, or it could mean
when it says she's divorced, but she has to pay up later. Rav Yehuda says when she'll give the money, then the divorce will come into play. What? No, I didn't. I said Rav Yehuda. I didn't say Chai Yehuda. I said Rav Yehuda. My benayu kebenayu sheniskara get the she'ovad. If the get got ripped up before she gave the money, then there's a machlokes. Ravuna says it's a t'nai, it's a condition. When she fulfills the condition, it's megala that it was a good get. It's almanas, it's me'achshav, it's from now. The get already happened. She just has to pay up. Rav Yehuda Omar, Lichshatitin Tzricha Yimenu Getchin. According to Rav Yehuda, however, Lichshatitin, so therefore she'll need a second get. It's not Nami Gabi Kedushin Ki Hagavno. It also says in the Mishnah about Kedushin, similarly. It's not, it says in the Mishnah, somebody tells a wife, a woman, you're betrothed to me on condition that I give you 200 zuz, because usually the giving is the other way around. When you're betrothing a woman, you're running after her. So he says, I'll pay you 200 zuz if you marry me. She's mekudeshes v'yitin, and he should pay up. V'yitmar my v'yitin. So what does v'yitin mean? V'nomer v'hu yitin, he'll give after. Let's say before you paid up, she accepted a kedushin from someone else. According to Rav Huna, he's already betrothed to her. He just has to fulfill the condition. So he fulfills this condition, then she's already married to him, or betrothed to him. Only when he gives it to her does the kedushin come into effect. Hashtar le'have kedushin. Now it's not. So we see the same machlokes of money, a condition, a divorce conditional on money, or betrothal conditional on money. The same machlokes between Rav Huna and Rav Yehuda is in two places. So why do they have to argue both by Gittin and kedushin? At Tzricha we need both. The Ashmin and Gabi Kedushin, if you're going to say that they're only arguing by Kedushin, only over there is Rav Huna going to say that it's conditional. It's just a condition to fulfill, and he's betrothed to her because it's coming to bring her close. But by Gedushin, that it's coming to make her go far. Maybe he'll agree with Rabbi Yehuda. If we're going to teach this din by Gedushin, only in this is Rav Huna going to say v'hititin. Because she's not embarrassed, v'hititim, because she's not embarrassed to ask for it. So because she's not going to ask, she's not going to be embarrassed to ask for it. Therefore, he doesn't have to make his get dependent on the money. No, not she's not embarrassed. He's not embarrassed to ask, to demand for her money. Avagabi kedushin dikseifa lemizbeh. But by kedushin, that there's an embarrassment. She's going to be embarrassed to ask for it. Maybe in such a case, but maybe take, we should make it conditional on the money. And so too, vice versa, according to Rav Yehuda. If you're going to say that did by kedushin, only over there is Rav Yehuda going to say that it's conditional on the money because she'll be embarrassed to ask for it. She's now his wife. But by Gedushin, that the husband's not going to be embarrassed to ask for it. Maybe he'll agree that it's not conditional. The get is not conditional. He's giving her the get. He knows he's going to ask her for the money. Obviously, the get will only come into effect when he gets the money. But anyway, if you're going to say it only by Gedushin, by Gedushin, he says and he's trying to distance her, so he wants to make sure he has the money with the get. But by kedushin, that's l'krevakasi, that's coming to bring her close. Maybe he's maida. So therefore, we need it in all cases. Okay, Meisvei, we have a question. Husband says, husband says, this is your get and condition that you give me money. Even if the get got ripped up or was lost, she's divorced. Even if the get got ripped up or was lost, she's divorced. But she cannot marry anyone until she pays up. So this is a raya for who? For which opinion? Rav Huna. Rav Huna said all she has to do is pay up, but if the get even if the get gets ripped up, that's fine. It's a condition for later. Vaitanya, the get already happened. Vaitanya, it also says in the Brisa, husband told the wife, this is your get on condition you give me 200 zuz. And he died. The husband died. So she had the get in her hand. And then but it was conditional upon her paying him, and then he dies. So on the one hand, she's a widow. On the other hand, she's a divorcee. What is she? So the Gemara explains. No, if she gave the money in his kukal liyova. She gave the money before he died, she's not going to have to deal with Yibum. She's going to be considered a divorcee. But she didn't give the money before he died, then it's too late already. He's dead. All she has to do, then she's going to have to deal with Yibum. She's going to have to go through the process of Yibum or Chalitza with her husband's brother, which is annoying or difficult. I shouldn't say annoying, it's a mitzvah, whatever. She's going to have to go through the process. The Gemara's not weighing which one is better or not. She's going to have to go through the process. Shimon Gamliel says no. He could even pay up after he dies. This is the chiddush of Shimon Gamliel. She could even pay up after he dies. She could give it to one of his heirs, to his brother, to his father, to his brothers, to one of the relatives. Probably whoever his Yerush is. It's not clear. Rashi doesn't explain. In other words, he could, just in the simple lashon, it sounds like give it to anyone. Give it to any of his relatives. It's fine. It says that Mar holds to me and not to my heirs. According to Shimon Gamliel, even to my heirs. So maybe the person who's Yerushim, depending on who's Yerushim, that's what it is. According to everybody, it's a Tanai. Tiyufta de Rabbi Yehuda Tiyufta. Tiyufta de Rabbi Yehuda. It's a refutation for Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda. Hamani Rabbi. This is opinion of Rabbi. Dam Ravuna Amar Rabbi. Ravuna said in the name of Rabbi. Kol Imam Manas Kemer Me'achshav David. Ravuna said in the name of Rabbi. It's interesting. Usually you don't have an Amoida who says something in the name of Rabbi, but in this case it is. Ravuna said in the name of Rabbi. Obviously there was a couple generations in between. Ravuna was probably 2 generations after Rabbi, I think. Anyone who says al manas on condition, it's as if you're saying me'achshav. So if you're giving a condition later on in order to pay, it doesn't matter. The get happened now. You're paying later. Chacham argue with Rabbi, I hold like the Chachamim. This is the way Rav Yehuda will defend himself. I'll say all those brises you brought as Shitas Rabbi, the opinion of Rabbi. I hold like the Chachamim. The Chachamim disagree. They say no. Even if you say al manas, in order for you to give, if you say in order for you to give, it means in order for you to give. And if the get gets ripped up, there's a big problem. You have to get a new get. Mohammed Rab Zayda said, "Kavina b'Bavel when we were in Bavel, Amin and Hoda Amar Ravuna Amar Rebbe Kola Imra Al Manas Kimra Machshav Dami Pligir Rabban and Alei." When we were in Bavel, we said that Ravuna says in the name of Rebbe, anyone who says Al Manas as if he's saying Me'achshav, the Chacham are arguing on him. Kislike, and that the Chacham argue on him. Kislike, when I left Bavel, remember Reb Zaydo was very famous. He went to Eretz Yisrael. He moved to Eretz Yisrael. We have in Bavli Yishamli a lot of Reb Zaydo. I think that's the same person. Reb Zaydo. He fasted 100 fasts to forget the style of the Bavli. He wanted to grasp the style of the Yishamli. So when he went to Eretz Yisrael from Bavel, Ashkachte Ravasi, I found Ravasi the Yosef Ekam B'Shem Rabbi Yechanan that he was sitting and saying in the name of Rabbi Yechanan, Hakil made him even the Chacham will agree, like this is basically saying like Ravuna. There is no machlekes. Everyone agrees that if you say al manas, this is your get in order for you to pay me. That you're giving the get now. Me'achshav. Now you're giving the get. She just has to pay later. And if the get gets ripped up, it's also fine. He says misa, then you have a machlekes of when the get is. Is the get now or is it a moment before he dies? V'atanya, like it says in the Brisa, we're turning the page now. If the husband says misa, get veina get, it's a get and not a get according to the Chachamim. In other words, it's not from now. It's going to happen the moment he dies, a moment before he dies. Rebbe Immer kozeh get. Rebbe says this is a get. So Frag the Gemara asks a little of Yehuda Davar Almanas Plig. According to Yehuda, even if you use the words Almanas in order, even then there's a machlekes that the Chum will say it's not right now. It's only going to happen when she gives the money, for example, in order for you to give me money. So why are they arguing in the case of Hayom Malach Misa? Let them argue in the case of Almanas. To let you know the koyach of the Chum that they're strict, and they say the get will only happen when you give the money or when you fulfill the condition. They'd rather They'd rather say a case where Rebbe is lenient rather than a case where Rav Yehuda is strict, where the Chacham are strict. That was the next case in the Mishnah. In order for you to give me from now until 30 days, only if she pays up in 30 days. Pshito, it's obvious. Maybe he doesn't really care that she pays in 30 days. He just wanted to hurry her up. Mashmalan that he really cares. That he really cares. Yeah, the next is it's a big piece. So I think it's a place to stop. Tomorrow we'll do the next blot. All right, everybody.
Thank you very much, David.
Thank you.